Hi everybody, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast. Welcome back for another video and section of our crochet along. I hope that you are enjoying so far. This is Pineapples on the Boardwalk Crochet Along 2022. This is my own pattern. Thank you for joining in, and I hope you are finding it easy or relatively easy, and I'm able to help you out along the way. If you run into any questions, please feel free to email me, comment down below, or message me in our Facebook group if you have Facebook. All of the links will be in the description box below. So let's get started on rows 26 through 40. Gonna move a little bit quicker through this video and see how things go. It should start feeling natural. If you're used to working up patterns like this, you'll probably start to see the repeats per se between the pineapples as you go. Okay, so let's get started. So for row 26, get my work situated here. Row 26, we're going to work on our new pineapple that we have added and work on closing up the pineapple prior. Only have a couple more rows and it will be closed. So we're going to go straight into that first shell and place a shell into a shell. Go ahead and do that. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now this is the row where we put a double crochet, a chain 1, a double crochet, a chain 1 across our 8 double crochets. So double crochet into that first double crochet and chain 1, and continue working across the next 7 stitches with that repeat. Okay, once you have your 8 double crochets with chain 1s, go ahead and chain 3 and place a shell into the next shell. All right, you now have your last shell of your new pineapple. Let's go ahead and chain 3. Reach over and single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of your pineapple. Single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet into the next chain 3 loop. That leaves you 1 chain 3 loop at the bottom of the pineapple. Go ahead and chain 3, place a shell into your last shell of this row. Once you've completed that shell, turn your work over and we'll begin row 27. Row 27, slip stitch across the first 3 stitches and into your chain 2 space and place a shell into a shell. Once you have your first shell made, chain 3 and single crochet down into your chain 3 loop at the bottom of your pineapple. Chain 3 and place a shell in your next shell. Chain 3 and single crochet into your chain 1 space of your new pineapple. Here's where we start our chain 3 loops. Chain 3 and single crochet into your next chain 1 space. Continue with that repeat across. Once you have made it across, you should have 6 chain 3 loops. Chain 3 and place a shell into your last shell. Now we need to connect to the body of our work. We're going to skip 2 spaces and join in between the 2 rows here and the following row. With a slip stitch. There we go. So we're just skipping 2 rows every time we join and joining with a slip stitch right in between 2 sets of double crochet rows, or right on the edge of your fillet row if that's where you land. Okay, let's turn our work over for row 28. Row 28 is a increasing row. So we are going to place 3 sets of 3 double crochets with chain 2s in between them. So reach straight over and double crochet 3 times, chain 2, 3 more double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. That will complete your increase for this row. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And now we're working into our chain 3 loops with single crochet into the first chain 3 loop, chain 1, 2, 3, and single crochet into the next chain 3 loop, and continue that across. Once you have made it across, you should have 5 loops, chain 3, and place a shell into your next shell. Once you have finished that shell, you're going to go straight over to the next shell and place a shell into that shell. There is no chain 3 space in between the 2 shells. Turn your work over. Okay, let's begin row 29. Slip stitch over to your chain 2 space. Chain 2 and place a shell into the next shell. chain 3 and single crochet into your first chain 3 loop, and continue that repeat, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3 across your loops. You should have four loops across your pineapple, 4 chain 3 loops across your pineapple. Chain 3 and place a shell into your first chain 2 space. Chain 5. And place a shell into the last chain 2 space. Connect to the body of your work. With a slip stitch. Turn your work over and we will start row 30. Row 30 begins with starting a shell into your very first shell. Now we're going to place a V-stitch into our chain 5 space. So chain 1, 2, 3, and double crochet into the chain 5 space. Chain 1, 2, 3, and place one more double crochet into the same chain 5 space. Chain 1, 2, 3, and place a shell into your next shell. Okay, now we are coming up on the chain 3 loops of our pineapple. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet into your first chain 3 loop, and continue across with chain 3, single crochet. You should now have 3 chain 3 loops at the bottom of your pineapple. Chain 3 and place a shell into your next shell. Turn your work over. Okay, let's begin row 31. Gonna slip stitch back over to your chain 2 space. Chain 2 and place a shell into a shell, with your chain 2 being your first double crochet. Chain 3 and single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of your pineapple. Chain 3 and continue across. You will have 2 loops on the bottom of your pineapple at this time. Chain 3, place a shell into your next shell. Chain 3 and place 8 double crochets into your V-stitch. chain 3, and place a shell into your last shell and connect to the body of your wrap. Turn your work over and we will begin row 32. Row 32, place a shell into your first shell. Chain 3 and double crochet into your first double crochet of your pineapple. Here is where we chain 1, double crochet into the next stitch, and chain 1. Continue with that repeat across. Chain 3, place a shell into your next shell, and now we're down to placing our last chain 3 loop at the bottom of our pineapple. So chain 3, single crochet into the first chain 3 loop at the bottom of your pineapple, chain 1, 2, 3, and single crochet into the next chain 3 loop of your pineapple. You now have 1 chain 3 loop at the bottom of the pineapple. Chain 1, 2, 3, and place a double, and place a shell into your last shell. Turn your work over. Okay, let's begin row 33. You're going to slip stitch back over to your chain 2 space and place a shell into a shell. Chain 3 and single crochet into your chain 3 loop at the bottom of your pineapple. Chain 3 more and place a shell into the next shell. Chain 3 and single crochet into your first chain 1 space of the next pineapple. Continue working, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space across the pineapple. You should have 6 chain 3 loops across the bottom of your pineapple. Chain 3, and place a shell into a shell, and then connect to the body of your wrap. Okay, so let's start row 34. Row 34 is an increasing row, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And that will be your increase to start adding the next pineapple in. Okay, so chain 3, and we're going to hop over to our first chain 3 loop of our pineapple and place a single crochet, and continue on with chain 3, single crochet in the next loop until you have reached the end. At the end, you should have 5 chain 3 loops. When you reach the end, chain 3 and place a shell in your next shell. Do not chain. We are connecting these 2 shells together. So reach straight over to your next shell and make another shell. Place a shell in a shell. That's it for row 34. Please turn your work over and we will begin row 35. To begin row 35, you will slip stitch over to your chain 2 place. Now you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And place a shell in your next shell. This will be the final connection between the last pineapple and the one that you are currently working on. Okay, now you're going to chain 3 and jump over to our chain 3 little loops on our pineapple and single crochet in that first one. Chain 3 and single crochet into the next chain 3 loop and continue that repeat across. Once you have made it across, you should have 1, 2, 3, and 4 chain 3 loops on your pineapple at this time. Chain 3. And place a shell into your first chain 2 space. Chain 5. And place a shell in your next chain 2 space. Now you're going to attach to the body of your wrap with a slip stitch. That is it for row 35. Go ahead and turn your work and we will begin row 36. Row 36 begins with a shell in a shell, your V-stitch, and a shell in a shell. So shell in shell. One, two, three. Double crochet into your chain 5 space, chain 1, 2, 3, and double crochet back into your chain 5 space, chain 1, 2, 3, and place a shell into your next shell. Chain 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to work across these chain 3 loops at the bottom of your pineapple. So single crochet into the first one, and then do your chain 3, single crochet into the next. When you have reached the other side, you should have 3 chain 3 loops at the bottom of your pineapple at this time. Chain 1, 2, and 3, and place a shell into your last shell of the row. That is the end of row 36. Let's turn our work over and begin row 37. Row 37 begins by slip stitching over to your chain 2 space, and placing a shell in a shell. Chain 3 and jump over to your first chain 3 loop of your pineapple and single crochet, chain 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the next, chain 3 and single crochet in the last. You should have 2 chain 3 loops on your pineapple. Chain 3, place a shell into your next shell. Chain 3 and place 8 double crochets into your V-stitch. Chain 3 and place a shell into your last shell and attach to the body of your wrap. And that is the end of row 37. Turn your work and we will begin row 38. Okay, to begin row 38, you're going to place a shell into a shell. Here is where we chain 3 and double crochet into that first double crochet. And then chain 1, double crochet in the next stitch, and continue that repeat across the next 6 stitches. You should have 8 double crochets with a chain 1 space in between each one of them. Chain 3 and place a shell into your next shell. Chain 3, single crochet into your first chain 3 loop of the bottom of your pineapple, chain 3, and single crochet into the last chain 3 loop of your pineapple. That leaves you with your 1 chain 3 loop at the bottom of your pineapple. Chain 3, and jump over to your last shell and place a shell into a shell. That is the end of row 38. Turn your work and we will begin row 39. Row 39, slip stitch back over to your chain 2 space and place a shell in a shell. Chain 3 and single crochet into that 1 chain 3 loop at the base of your pineapple, very bottom. Chain 3 and place a shell into a shell. Chain 3 and single crochet into your first chain 1 space, chain 3 and repeat across. You should have a total of 6 chain 3 loops when you're done. Chain 3 and place a shell into the last shell of this row. And now attach to the body of your wrap. That ends row 39. Turn your work and we will begin row 40. Okay, row 40 is an increasing row, so double crochet right back into that shell 3 times. Chain 2, 3 more double crochets. Chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. That is your increase to start our next pineapple. Chain 3. And we're going to jump right on into these chain 3 loops at the base of the pineapple. Single crochet, chain 1, 2, and 3, and then single crochet into the next chain 3 loop. Continue across until you have 5 chain 3 loops. Chain 3 and place a shell in a shell, your very next shell. Without chaining, reach over to your next shell on the other side of the pineapple and place a shell into that shell. And that is it for row 40. Okay, so for the remainder of this wrap, you will repeat rows 35 through 40 until you have reached row 93. So I will show you on the original. You will continue working down your pineapples until you have come to row 93. 93 ends before our last increase. And we will go from there in the final video. I hope you are enjoying this crochet along. If you have any questions or need extra videos, please feel free to email me, reach out to me on our Facebook group, Spring the Fiber Enthusiast, or place a comment down in the comment section of this video. Once again, be blessed and be a blessing. Thanks, guys. Bye.